What is going on, guys? So today I got a quick video for you to talk about, and that is do not go to basic training, especially now, out of shape. Alright, so this video is going to be a quick video, should be a quick video, and it's kind of in response to some messages and DMs and stuff that I've gotten, kind of recently, referring to some older videos that I've done. The Army is always changing, basic training is always changing, and the first videos that I have made talking about basic training that I made a year and a half, 2 years ago, right, are based off of my experience going to basic training in 2015. It is actually 2019. I don't know why I looked at the clock to figure out what year it was. That is really stupid. It is April of 2019. I went to basic training in May of 2015, right? So that's almost 4 years to the month of my time being out of basic training or whatever. So there's a lot of changes that happen, little minor incremental changes, but one thing that has been expressed to me via drill sergeants that are currently at basic training right now, via soldiers who are just graduating basic training, letting me know kind of changes and things like that. That's one of the ways that I kind of hear about some smaller changes, is talking to you guys that are recent graduates of basic training and trying to get a better understanding of the current environment around basic, because you only get to go through once, and especially for my channel, I talk a lot about it because I'm trying to help you guys prepare yourself. I want to have accurate information for you. So the reason I'm titling this video What I Did is to hopefully get you guys, or get the most amount of people, to really see this and really understand. Maybe if you've seen some of my older videos, aka the one where I said the only way to fail basic training is to quit, which I still really do believe is true in a lot of ways, but things have changed a little bit more as far as the physical side of basic training, as far as the PT side of basic training, and they're really looking at your PT scores and your PT tests whenever you first get there. Now, before, whenever I was there, you could walk the entire PT test, and you probably, they would probably yell, you're probably not gonna walk, you shouldn't walk the whole PT test, but essentially, it's an exaggeration. You could walk the first PT test, you could do 3 push-ups, which somebody did in my platoon, you could do less than 10 sit-ups, and you're not going to get sent to the fat camp. You're not going to, fail basic training. You're going to push yourself, and by the end of basic training, you're going to pass. That was the general consensus. That was the general thing that happened whenever I went. But now, the current state of basic training is a little bit different, right? So it's not, that if you go to basic training and if you're failing your PT test right out the gate, they're gonna send you back home, or you're gonna, be sent to the fat camp. That's not the case, but it is true, and I have been told a lot, that if you do show up to basic training and you're one of those people who previously were just completely out of shape, and I'm gonna give you guys some of my general target numbers of what you guys should be at, and in my personal opinion, if you are under this, or if you do not meet this standard that I am picking for you guys, there's not really a set standard for this, so keep that in mind. But I'm going to tell you guys some numbers, and if you're kind of below that, then you want to kind of really try to push yourself. If you have a basic training date right now, that you will actually really push yourself, so that when you get there, you're not going to be one of those people. So like I said, it didn't used to really matter that much if you went to basic training and you were just in horrible shape, but now, as soon as you get there, you're going to take a 111, and you're going to end up taking your first 222 PT tests after a couple of weeks of being there. And if you do horrible, if you're one of those people that does really bad, there is a much higher likelihood that you're going to get sent off, going to this actual PT training. They're going to send you over, you're going to do some extra PT, you're going to be separated from your basic training company that you originally came in, you're going to be separated from them, do some PT for a while, do some workouts and things like that to try to get you in better shape, and then they're going to send you back. So you're going to be delayed, your basic training date, your AIT is probably going to be delayed, all that stuff. You don't want to do that. It's not a good idea, because you don't want to be a hold under, you don't want to be a hold over. Those are different things that I've talked about in the past, but essentially it's just you sitting there waiting for your time to go do something else, right? So that's a higher chance of that happening. It's also a higher chance of you just being sent home. I have been told by a few people that there were people who are just sent home to just go back home and just come back and try again at a later date, because they are just so beyond out of shape. So don't let that be you. Now, what I said before was I'm going to give you guys some numbers, right? So if you're looking at this and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to lose like 40 pounds. You know, I'm just not in really good shape right now. And I go to basic training in like 3 months. Like, oh my gosh, like what numbers should I be looking at, right? If you're curious what you need to pass basic training, what you need to actually pass the APFT, that is a standard that is going to vary. The minimum standard is going to vary depending on your age and gender right now. Now, when October rolls around and we got the ACFT, the new PT test, this isn't going to matter as much. So if you're watching this later than October of 2019 this year when the ACFT comes out, then this is not necessarily going to apply for you because it's going to be a gender neutral PT test. But if it does apply to you right now, you're watching this and you're leaving for basic training before October of 2019, then you can look up, I'll put a link in the description, the APFT standards. You can look at your age, you can look at your gender, and you can look up the 3 different events, the push-up, the sit-up, and the 2-mile run, and see what you need as the minimum, right? So obviously, if you do meet the minimum standard when you get to basic training, you're gonna be good to go. You're going to pass. But in my personal opinion, these are the 3 things that I'm gonna tell you guys. If you can't meet the standard, you want to, 1, push yourself harder to try and meet that standard at least before going to basic training. And then 2, if you don't meet the standard and you do ship off to basic training maybe like next week or so, then just kind of be prepared, or just like do your best when you're in reception or something to try and just increase that just a little bit. There's not much you can do really if you've just been slacking and you haven't really prepared yourself and you're not meeting the standards that I'm about to say. But anyways, without further ado, the 3 things that I want to talk about. So when I went to basic, there was a guy did 3 push-ups, and they weren't even like real push-ups. Like they really shouldn't have been push-ups. So essentially he did 0 push-ups and he still was let through basic training. But in my opinion, if you go to basic training right now and you do that, you are going to get sent off to this camp. You're going to be potentially sent home or whatever. So you don't want to be that guy, right? You do not want to be that guy. So as far as a male goes, these are male standards that I'm going to say for you guys. Female standards, it's a little bit different, but male standards, you want to try and at least do like 15 to 20 push-ups. If you can at least show up day 1 on that 111 PT test and do 15 to 20 push-ups, in my personal opinion, then that should kind of maybe take you out of the ranks of the people who are going to be sent off to this camp or sent off to, you know, sent back home actually, right? So if you can do that, then that's good, right? It's not going to pass the PT test. It's not going to pass the PT test, but on the 111, the first day of basic training, if you can do 15 to 20 push-ups, then you're kind of in the clear, right? So you want to shoot for at least obviously more than that. The next thing that you want to try to shoot for is the sit-ups, right? So the sit-ups is the second event of the PT test, and in my opinion, personal opinion, you should shoot for 30 sit-ups, 25 to 30 sit-ups, right? At least as the minimum, again, to take you out of that fear, or in my opinion, the group of people that are going to be running the risk of being sent off and having their basic training delayed because they don't meet the physical standards. Again, if you don't meet that standard right now that I am making up, this is not an Army standard, let me reiterate that, I am making that up, right? But in my personal opinion, if you can meet that, then that takes you out of that bracket. If you can do better than that, good to go. But if you do 15, 10 sit-ups or so, that's not really that good, especially whenever sit-ups, in my opinion, for people who are out of shape, is the easier event to do. Now, the third and final event of the PT test is the 2-mile run. But when you get there, when you get to basic training, the first day, you're gonna do the 111. So you're gonna run 1 mile. So your standard that you should hold yourself to is you should try and run that 1 mile under 10 minutes. If you can't run that mile under, I would say 10 to 11 minutes or so, then that's really not going to be looking good, and the drill sergeants are going to really be looking at this person and be like, there's no way that we're going to get them to the standard easily, right? So you might be sent off to this camp. Probably won't get sent home if you're doing like a 10:30 or whatever, but if your first mile is like a 15-minute, which is completely possible, because I'm pretty sure whenever I went, there was a dude who did his 2-mile run in about 30 minutes or so, which is like a 15-mile pace, which is literally a ruck marching pace. Like, it's a walking pace, right? So if that's you, that person, which I was with, right, they would have been sent off. But the way it was 4 years ago or so, that wasn't really the case. They kind of just pushed their way through and they ended up passing basic training. But now that person, I'm almost certain that they would be sent off either home, or they would be sent to this camp to later come back to basic training and, you know, try again with a different company. Now notice I'm not saying a 2-mile pace for your minimum standard, because like if you're doing a 10 or 11 minute 1-mile run, there's no there's no way in the world that you're gonna be passing the 2 mile run for the APFT. So keep that in mind. Those are the male standards. Now the next thing is the female standards that I'm going to kind of give you guys a little quick guide to try to meet this standard. If you can do 6 or 7 push-ups or so, you're definitely going to be good to go. The female standards, the minimum standards for the PT test right now is a lot lower for the push-ups and for the run. Sit-ups is the same thing, same standard that I said before. And then for the 2 mile run, I would say 12 minutes would be your mark, not 10 minutes or so, but 12 minutes would be your mark to try to hit for that 1 mile run. All right, so as usual, this video went on longer than I expected. I really did expect for this video to be fairly short, but it just definitely did not turn out to be that way. But that is it for this video. I do want to mention the merch and all that stuff. I haven't really been posting videos since I've been here at Bullock, so a lot of people don't actually even know about the whole merchandise and the store or whatever that I've created. But the link's gonna be in the description. There'll be, you know, cards, and there'll be stuff at the end of the video that you guys can click on and go check things out. But as I've said plenty of times before, if you see this logo, it's my stuff. So if you want to check it out, the link is in the description. There's also some cool stuff that you can get with different purchase orders and amounts and stuff like that. So make sure you guys check it out if you want some cool stuff. So if you haven't already, hit that like button. That'd be awesome. If you want to check out some more of my videos, hit the subscribe button. That would be even better. If you want to, follow me on Instagram and Snapchat if you haven't already. I hope you guys have an amazing freaking day, and I'll see you later.